Hi everyone, welcome to the Math Science Quest website. In this video I will be showing you how to sign up to become a member, as well as explain the two ways of playing Math Science Quest, pickup rounds and tournaments. Next to this video you will find a how to play video that dives into the game, explaining all the options in-game. We will be loading the game in this video, but only to go over the difference between pickup rounds and tournaments. First, let's go ahead and sign up. If you have already signed up to the site, you may want to skip ahead a little bit here. You should be looking at the same screen in this video with Home, Help, and Login appearing at the top left of the site. Click Login at this time. Once at the Login screen, we will want to click the red Sign Up button at the bottom of the Login dialog. After clicking the Sign Up button, we will be taken to the Sign Up area. Here we will want to fill out a unique username, our first and last names, a valid email address, and finally a password that must be typed for confirmation. This password needs to be at least 6 characters long. I will use the username Frogman, followed by the first name of Frog, followed by Man as my last name. I'm going to use one of my own personal email accounts, info@propagandagame.org, and finally I'll type in a password and then again to confirm. Once this information has been filled out, I can click the Create Member button. After clicking the Create Member button, we will be taken back to the home page where we will automatically be logged in with the new member information we filled out. As you can see, the very top left of the website now reads Welcome Frogman instead of Welcome Guest. We can also see that 2 new options have appeared next to Home in our navigation bar. We now have the option MSQ and Settings added to our options. At this point in the process, we need to understand that the new account I just created for Frogman is a basic member account. Basic members have access to pickup rounds, but not tournaments, as they are reserved for teachers. The pickup round area can be accessed by hovering over the word MSQ and then choosing Pickup Round just below Tournaments. I will explain in a moment why Tournaments appears in this drop-down for basic members. It is also important to point out that as a result of creating a new basic member account, an email will be sent to the address you used that will contain your username and password. This is for your own information. This is not an activation link in the email that you must click on in order to become a member. Simply creating a new member account automatically activates you. If you are a teacher or would like to be able to create tournaments in a classroom, you will need to fill out a very small application form. We will change your status from basic member to teacher within 24 hours of receiving your application. Please remember that no one will have access to your email address or your students' email addresses or names after applying for a teacher account. Any information you enter on our site is kept in strict confidence, and this includes names and email addresses of your students that you will enter when creating a classroom tournament. It is also important to make sure that visitors to our site remember that Math Science Quest is completely free. Let me explain briefly the difference between pickup rounds and tournaments. A pickup round, which is available to basic members and teachers, consists of only one round that can last for 1 day to 1 month, and is generally played either as a single player or multiplayer game. The pickup round becomes a multiplayer game if you have friends that wish to join the pickup round that you create. We will go over this in more detail in a moment. These friends can play from other computers in the same house or down the street or different towns or different states or even different countries. During the creation of a pickup round, you will choose which quest you wish to play. A quest is a goal, set of resources, and variables that differ from quest to quest. A tournament, on the other hand, consists of multiple rounds, each round lasting a week at length and each round having different quests. Teachers will create teams and possibly divisions to place their students in who will compete against other teams and divisions. It is also possible to create tournaments that consist of students from multiple classes. There is also a great deal more quests to choose from in the classroom version as opposed to pickup rounds. Pickup rounds are generally for those wishing to play a single player game or those who may have friends that they wish to play with choosing the same quest. Tournaments are generally for classrooms with 5 to 30 students where different quests will be assigned each week. Summaries and play-by-play accounts of each round are available for both pickup rounds and tournaments, but a newsletter and awards are available only for classroom tournaments. The last difference between pickup rounds and tournaments I will mention here is that teachers will have access to all solutions for any given quest for any given round, whereas quests in the pickup round do not. We give teachers the solutions to all quests because they themselves will probably not be playing. Their students will. But if they decide to play along with their students, they would simply not look at the answers beforehand, of course. Let's begin a game by creating our first pickup round. Remember that Frogman is a basic member and not a teacher. However, if we hover over the letters MSQ in the navigation bar, we see the word tournaments as well. This is simply because Frogman may also be a student and his or her teacher may have enrolled him in one of her tournaments. If Frogman was added as a player in one of his teacher's tournaments, Frogman would go to his tournaments to play around in the tournament or tournaments he has been enrolled in. The tournament area under MSQ is not to be confused for an area where a teacher would go to create a tournament. Only teachers have this ability, and for teachers, they will create tournaments in an area called directors, which of course is not seen on our screen because Frogman is not a teacher. Now that we know why the word tournament appears in the MSQ dropdown, let's go into our pickup area by clicking Pickup Rounds. The first text we see in the pickup round area are the words, "Currently you have no created pickup rounds." Underneath this, we will find a button that reads Create Pickup Rounds. Underneath this button, we will find the words Available Pickup Rounds, followed by There are currently no pickup rounds available to join. Below this are various categories named Creator, Round, Roster, etc. On the screen for this video, we see nothing under these categories because currently there are no available pickup rounds created by other members that are available to Frogman. There may be pickup rounds available to you on your screen, but at the making of this video, there are none available for Frogman. Let's click the Create Pickup Round button and begin creating our first pickup round. After clicking the Create Pickup Round button, we will be taken to another screen showing 2 calendars and some other options. The first thing we need to do here is select our time zones with the drop-down selector if it is not showing the correct time zone. For Frogman, Central Time is the correct time zone. Next, we will want to select when we want the pickup round to begin. As you can see, there is a circle around the current day. I will select this day as the day I want my pickup round to begin. As a result of selecting this day, a selectable clock will appear at the bottom of the first calendar. I'm going to change the hours and minutes here to reflect exactly what time of day I want my pickup round to begin. Next, I'm going to select when I want my pickup round to end. We can set this for tomorrow, or in a week, or even for a month, so long as it is not set for today or any day before today. I also want to make sure that my AM and PM settings is accurate to reflect the exact time of day our pickup round begins and ends. Now that we have defined the time parameters for our pickup round, we need to select a few more settings. Underneath the Round Begins calendar, we will find a drop-down selection labeled Match Type. The 2 options here are fixed and running time for match type. In a fixed match, no points are taken off for the amount of time we've been playing. In a running match, points are deducted for the longer we play. Choosing running time will also negate the need for an end of round time. The next selection we must decide on is our difficulty, which is either none, easy, medium, or hard. This selection has to do with the penalty costs for conducting experiments in game. If we select none here, players can type in as many experiments in game without a reduction in score. Next, we will choose our quest. If we select anything in this list other than what appears by default, which is Arithmetic Demo, we will see some information describing the quest. I will choose Algebraic Demo, and underneath will appear the goal, resources, solutions total, and variables for the Algebraic Demo quest. We can then go back to the Arithmetic Demo to see information on that quest as well. This will help us decide what type of quest we want to play for our pickup round. Finally, you may enter a team name, but this is not a requirement for pickup play. When we have entered all the information for our pickup round, we can click the Create Round button. This will take us to another screen, giving us all the information we chose in the previous screen. We can also see a link on this page called Hints that we can click on to get even more information about the quest we chose for this round. This will open up another window displaying the concepts used and lesson references for the quest we chose. When we are done, we can click out of this window to return to our round information window. If we are satisfied with our round info, we can click the Create Pickup Round button. Clicking the Create Pickup Round button will return us to the Pickup Rounds list area. Now, under Your Created Pickup Rounds, we can see a new pickup round listed whose creator is Frogman. Other information can be seen for our newly created pickup round, such as round name, the roster, which currently only contains one person who is Frogman, the status of this pickup round, which currently reads Launch Pickup Round, a begins and ends time, and finally a remove trash can icon, which will delete our pickup round if we are finished with the round or are not satisfied with it. Under our round name, we will see a note and pencil icon listed before the round name. If we click on this icon, it will open up a new tab on our browser with a printable sheet for those who wish to find solutions for this pickup round away from their computer. We can click out of the worksheet window to return to our pickup round list area. Also in the round name area, we can see a link labeled Edit Round. Here we can change the dates and the times of our pickup round. Simply hit the back button on your browser to return to the pickup round list page. Also under round name, we can see the Hints link that we saw when creating our pickup round. What we need to discuss next is the Launch Pickup Round button found under Status in our pickup round. This launch button should only be pressed when we are absolutely sure we are ready to play and that all, if any, other players have joined our pickup round. I'm going to log off as Frogman and log into my personal member account named Mike Clever. Now I'm going to hover over MSQ in the navigation bar and choose Pickup Rounds. For Mike Clever, we see that I do not have any created pickup rounds, but I have one available pickup round listed. This, of course, is the pickup round created by Frogman. Under Status, however, we can see a Join Pickup Round button instead of a Launch Pickup button. This means that Mike Clever can join Frogman's pickup round. Let's join Frogman's pickup round by clicking the Join Pickup Round button. After clicking the Join button, we now see that the status is pending. This is because the creator of this available pickup round, Frogman, has not launched the pickup round yet. The currently logged in player, Mike Clever, now has the ability to remove himself from Frogman's pickup round by clicking Unjoin in the Remove area. Now I will log off from Mike Clever and log back into Frogman and return to his pickup round area. In Frogman's created pickup round list, we can now see that Michael Clever has been added to the roster of Frogman's pickup round. We would want to wait for additional players to join before launching our pickup round by refreshing this page and checking our roster for additional members to join. But for the sake of this video, we will be launching with Frogman and Mike Clever only. Let's click the Launch Pickup Round button now. Now we will see a reddish play button listed under Status. If, however, our round was scheduled to start in an hour or perhaps even tomorrow, we would see the word Pending under Status, letting us know that the pickup round is not ready to begin. Remember that it is not required that anyone join our created pickup round. We can click Launch without any joiners to play as a single player. But after the Launch button has been pressed, no one else can join our match. Now let's go ahead and click the play button for our newly created pickup round. A new tab will open in your browser displaying a small window that reads, "Click anywhere inside this Math Science Quest area to begin." Once we've clicked on this window, we'll see some text that reads, "Enter your username." Here we'll type in our login name that appears at the top left of this page that currently reads Welcome Frogman. After typing Frogman, we'll hit Enter on our keyboards. After a few seconds, our pickup round will begin showing us the Math Science Quest game board ready for us to begin entering our proposed solutions and experiments. As I've said before earlier, how to play the game will be covered in a separate video named How to Play. We also see on this page, just above the game window, the team we chose and the players currently enrolled in our pickup round. In this case, it is the creator Frogman and Michael Clever, the member that joined this pickup round earlier. I'm going to open up a new tab in my browser and log into Math Science Quest as Michael Clever, so we can show both players playing in this pickup round. I'll log on as Michael Clever in a new browser window and go into Mike Clever's pickup rounds. We can see Frogman's pickup round now under our available pickup rounds. Now I'll hit the play button to join Frogman in the match. As Michael Clever, I'll enter a solution of 2 times 3. We can see that it instantly appears in our list of solutions, and by clicking the chat button below, we can see that Michael Clever has entered a solution of 2 times 3. I'll close out the chat area and return to our numerical keyboard screen. Now I'm going to click on the tab that shows us Frogman's game board and enter a solution of 2 times 3 divided by 1. We can see that it has showed up as solution number 8 on our list of solutions. If we click the chat button, now we can see that both Frogman and Mike Clever have entered solutions. If I click on the small keyboard icon at the bottom right of our game window, I can type in hello to say hi to Mike Clever as Frogman. Switching back to Mike Clever and clicking the chat button on his screen, I can see that Frogman has said hello. As Mike Clever, I'm going to type in, "You found a solution, Frogman," after clicking the keyboard option to chat. I'll click out of the chat area by clicking the X to return to the numerical keyboard. Switching back over to Frogman, I can see that Michael Clever has said something to Frogman. Any player can leave a match whenever he or she wants and return whenever he or she wants, until the end of the round that was set when creating the pickup round. When a player in a pickup round clicks the final button, scoring ends from that point. However, if we return back to Frogman or Mike Clever's pickup list, we still see a play button with final partial listed under the status of our match. This is because both players can continue to play this pickup round until the end time of the pickup round, but scoring will not continue. Also in the status area, we can see a summary link and a play-by-play link. The status area will show all players' solutions found and all experiments made. If we choose play-by-play, we can see a running play-by-play of everything that occurred in-game in chronological order. Okay, so let's leave the pickup round part of this tutorial and check out the classroom tournament section of Math Science Quest. Now, let's assume that Frogman filled out our teacher form and we here at Games for Thinkers received the application and changed the status of Frogman from member to teacher. Let me go ahead and do that as Mike Clever, who is an admin and can make those changes. Okay, now I will log back in as Frogman. A new option now appears for Frogman, who is now a teacher. Remember as well that teachers still have the pickup round option that all members have. Now that Frogman is a teacher, we see a new option on the navigation bar called Directing. When we click on Directing, we will be taken to a new page that reads, "There are currently no classroom tournaments." This is, of course, because Frogman the teacher has not made one. Below this are 3 buttons: New Classroom Tournament, New National Tournament, and All Solutions. We will be clicking the New Classroom Tournament in a second, but allow me to explain the other buttons. Built into Math Science Quest is the ability for one school to play another school in the same city, state, country, or even those English-speaking parts of the world in other countries. However, we currently do not have enough schools enrolled to maintain this functionality. We will, however, after enough teachers begin playing Math Science Quest in their classrooms, flip the switch, as it were, and make national tournaments available. The All Solutions button will take us to a page that allows us to see general information regarding all quests found in the classroom version of Math Science Quest. Change the grade you wish to see by clicking on the drop-down menu at the top, or click on any quest listed for each grade to see all solutions for any given quest. This information is not available for obvious reasons to the public or to students. There are 36 quests available per grade from the grades 3rd through 12th. Let's go back on our browsers and click on the New Classroom Tournament button. Here we will see a form that needs to be filled out similar to the page seen in the Create New Pickup Round dialog. There are more fields to fill out here in this area because we are going to be dealing with more players, who are students in this case, and more than one round. By default, our first field should be already filled out, which in this case reads Frogman for our tournament director. The tournament director is you, the teacher. A tournament name needs to be given in the next field under it. This is a required field. For this video, I'm going to call this classroom tournament Frogs Class. Tournament sponsor is not a required field and will only be shown on the game board for tournaments with sponsors. Below these three fields we can see match type and difficulty. These two fields were explained in the pickup round section of this video. Beside these is a checkbox asking the teacher if she would like her students to be able to see hints that explain concepts and give resource links. In the box to the right we can find grade level, rounds per cycle, and round each. Choosing the grade level is important because the quest that we will choose on the next page will be chosen from the quests of that grade. The rounds per cycle drop-down will allow us to choose how many rounds in a cycle we want. A cycle is nothing more than a series of rounds. Let's say that we want our tournament to last a month. Let's also say that we wish our students to work on one particular quest during a week's time. We would want 4 rounds total, each lasting a week, to complete our one cycle and thus the tournament. If we wanted our tournament to last a little longer, let's say 3 months total, then we would probably want 3 cycles with 4 rounds apiece in each for a grand total of 12 rounds, or 12 quests. At the end of each round, an award will be given to the team that scored the most, and at the end of each cycle, an award will be given to the team that scored the most during the entire cycle. We will be able to see further in this video what a completed tournament looks like, but for now, let's choose grade level 3, 1 rounds per cycle, and have each round last 1 week. Now let's make sure our time zone is accurate and choose our dates and times. Here we see 3 total calendars that include an extra calendar different than the pickup round calendars because we must choose when we want our tournament to end. What we must do in the first and second calendar is decide when we want the first round of our tournament to begin and when to end the first round. The website will fill in all the existent rounds between when our first round begins and when the tournament ends. I'm going to pick today to begin our first round and choose a time to start. Knowing that I want my tournament rounds to last a week, I'm going to make my round end date and time 1 week ahead of my round begins. Make sure not to make your round end date be more than a week. This is easy to do if we don't take into consideration the starting time. Generally, it is good practice to make the end time be around 6 days and 12 hours after our round begins. Finally, I'm going to set the tournament end to 1 month after our round begins date. There are some round instruction notes available if we click the checkbox next to round instructions. Now we must choose a roster. Each time that a tournament is created, a roster is saved with players that were chosen from previously created tournaments. This is extremely helpful so that we don't have to type in 10 to 20 students and all their information each time we create a tournament. Currently for Frogman, there are no previously created tournaments, and therefore there are no previously created rosters. So Frogman will need to click on the Create New Roster checkbox. As a result of doing this, we now have 3 new drop-downs asking us how many players, how many divisions, and how many teams we wish to make for our new tournament. I'm going to choose 2 players to keep it simple for this tutorial and keep the teams and divisions at 1. Now that we are finished filling out all the information on this page, we can click the Create Tournament button at the bottom of this page. If there were any issues with incomplete information or timing issues, you will be returned to this page asking us to deal with the issue that needs to be dealt with. Time overlaps are a frequent error on this page because it is easy to choose a round ends more than 7 days past our round begins. Another brief point before we click the Create Tournament button is that if you do not have other rosters from other previously created tournaments that show on this page, they will not be used if the Create New Roster checkbox has been checked. After creating this tournament, I will begin the process of creating a second tournament so that we can see the roster that we are currently creating now listed on this page. After clicking the Create Tournament button, we will be taken to a page where we see several fields that need to be filled out. Because we only chose 2 players, we only need to fill out the first and last names, email addresses, usernames, and passwords of only 2 players. Teachers with 10 to 20 students will probably spend a good 10 minutes on this page, but as I said before, once a roster has been created, you will not need to fill out this information for consecutive tournaments, assuming you are using the same students. There is also the option of importing an Excel CSV file with your students pre-populated. Simply click the Choose File button, select your CSV file, and then import. Your students' information will be loaded, leaving only division and team names in need of being filled out. Download the CSV file template at the bottom of this page to see how your CSV file needs to be filled out. It is important to remember that row 1 of your template should not be altered in any way. The first row will need to read first name, last name, email, username, and password. This row should not be changed at all. You will only need to alter rows 2 to 5 or 2 to however many students you have, changing columns A, B, C, D, and E, from player 1 first name to your student's first name, from player 1 last name to your student's last name, and so forth with your student's email address, username on our site, and their password. It is important to note that all 5 fields must reflect current and existing members on the site. So you will need to make sure that all of your students have accounts, and you must know their email addresses, usernames, and passwords. If the email address you enter in the Excel file does not reflect an email found in our database, a new member will be created after we click the Create Roster button. But if the email address does exist and other fields are inaccurate, we will not be able to create the roster here, and will be prompted that a current member exists with the given email address, but that the username is wrong for that member. It is also advisable to list your students according to aptitude in math. If possible, place your most gifted students at the top of your list because the algorithm on our site will sort players to give balanced teams. If you have 8 students in your class and chose 2 teams, players 1, 8, 3, and 6 will be on one team, while players 2, 7, 4, and 5 will be on the second team. I will go ahead and fill out the information on this page along with the division and team name instead of importing a CSV file, and be right back. Now that we have all our students' information typed in as well as our division and team name, we can go ahead and click the Create Roster button to proceed. On the next page, we find a breakdown of all cycles and rounds for this new tournament we've created. If all looks correct, we can press the Create Division, Teams, Players, and Rounds button at the bottom. If we are not satisfied, we can simply click on Directing in the navigation bar to return to our list of tournaments to begin creating another tournament that reflects the rounds we wanted. A tournament is not fully saved until we've reached the end of the creation process, so we can escape any time and start over. After clicking the Create Division, Teams, Players, and Rounds button, we reach the final page in the creation process. First, we find some information regarding our division, team, players that we chose on previous pages. Our final decision before fully creating our tournament will be which quest will be played for each round. Click the drop-down menu for each round to choose between quests for the specific grade that we chose on the first page of the creation process. Note that each quest must be unique. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will choose quest 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4. You will see a small window appear after selecting a quest for each round with some information about the quest. When we have finished selecting our quest, we can click the Create Quest button. If everything goes accordingly, we will be returned to our directing list where our newly created tournament can be seen. In the case of Frogman, there will only be one listed. At any given time, we can click the Tournament Name link to see more information about the tournament. Here we will find begin and end times of each round, detailed information on the quest for each round, and all the solutions for the quest for that round by clicking the Quest 3.1 Solutions link. At the bottom of this page, we can also find an Edit Rounds button that will allow us to go in and change times, difficulties, and even quests for each round. We may also remove rounds from a cycle if desired. It is also possible to add a cycle onto the end of a tournament in the Edit Rounds area. After any change, we will need to click the Update Rounds button to reflect our changes. At this time, I'm going to log out of Frogman and log back in as Mike Clever and go to Mike Clever's tournament list in Directing. The reason I'm going to do this is that Mike Clever has tournaments that have completed rounds. After clicking on one of the tournament's names, we can see that Mike Clever's Cycle 1, Round 1, has a few differences than Frogman's. This is because Frogman's tournament has not yet begun. In Mike Clever's tournament, we can see that Round 1 of Cycle 1 has a summary button, a play-by-play button, and a newsletter button. Each of these buttons takes us to pages with different information. The summary button takes us to a page where we first select the team we want to see a summary for. Afterwards, we will see all solutions found and experiments made by each player. The play-by-play area gives us a running account of everything that transpired in the round in question in real time. Finally, the newsletter will show us the quest score and a total quest score. The quest score is the score for the total number of points for the team listed for the round in question. The total quest score takes into account a running total of all rounds in the cycle. Finally, we can see all the solutions found so far for the quest in question. Let's go back to the tournament name in our directing list so that we can see the cycle and rounds again. You will notice that a blue ribbon award labeled Quest Masters and a red ribbon award labeled Division Champion can be seen just below the times listed for Round 1. The Quest Master is awarded for the team with the most points scored in each round. The Division Champion is an award given to the team with the most points at the end of any cycle. Let's click on the Quest Master Award. Here we will find two buttons labeled Choose File and Create Team Award. What we want here is an image of our winning team to upload. Choose File and find your JPEG or PNG of your team. This image should have an aspect ratio of 4:3, meaning 400 by 300, or 640 by 480, or 1024 by 768. This is because we don't want the image to be stretched or distorted as it will appear in the middle of our award. Simply crop or resize your image to meet this criteria. Now let's click the Create Team Award. You should now see a Quest Masters graphic with your team image in the middle. Other details such as team, players, and tournament along with a date can be found on our award. Printing is now possible for this award through our browsers. On older browsers, there are some settings that we may need to attend to that are discussed in the note above the award. Now let's go back to our directing list so that I can show another option that we have for changing our tournaments. I'm going to click on the roster name in one of our tournaments. On this page we will find information about our roster that corresponds to our tournament. Below all the players listed, we will find various links and buttons that we can use to alter our rosters. We can edit a roster to change names of players, divisions, and teams. We can delete a player from a team and a roster by clicking the drop-down menu and choose the player we wish to remove, or we can add a player to the team in question. I'm going to click on Add Player to Team Blue, and we will be taken to another page where we can search for usernames that exist as current members to add to our team. If I type in Avila, a current member signed up to Math Science Quest, her name will appear as a new player to be added to Team Blue. Click the dot to the left of her name, and clicking Add Player will add Avila to Team Blue. We will be taken back to our roster information where we can see that Avila has been added to Team Blue. Removing her is simply done by clicking the drop-down menu next to Delete a Player, choosing Avila, and then clicking Delete a Player. Now Avila has been removed from Team Blue. To wrap things up, I'm going to cover an issue that I discussed earlier in this video in the Create New Tournament area. I'm going to log out of Mike Clever and log back into Frogman so that we can see the classroom tournament that we created earlier in the video. Let's go back to Directing and click New Classroom Tournament. If we scroll down to the bottom just under the round instructions, we can see text that reads, choose an existing roster or create a new roster. Just underneath this, we can see one roster named the same as our tournament name with 2 players, 1 team, and 1 division. We can use this roster now from a previously created tournament instead of creating a new roster if we choose. If we wish to create a completely different roster, we would choose Create New Roster and then choose the number of players, teams, and divisions instead. Even though the above roster still shows itself as being selected, if we click Create New Roster, it will create a new roster regardless of the fact that an existing roster is showing as selected. We just need to make sure that if we do wish to use an existing roster, that Create New Roster is not selected. This concludes this video on creating pickup rounds and classroom tournaments. We are always looking for ways to improve this application and fix bugs. If you find an issue or if you just want to give us some suggestions for improvement, click the Contact Us button at the top right of most pages on the site. Please watch the How to Play video to learn more about the game itself. Thanks for watching.